Man's Opinion. Today I am reviewing the new Rupert Holmes adaptation of W.S. Gilbert and Arthur Sullivan's The Pirates of Penzance, retitled Pirates, the Penzance Musical, directed by Scott Ellis, choreographed by Warren Carlyle, music direction by Joseph Joubert, conceived by Ellis, Holmes, Carlyle, and Joubert, running through August 27th at the Todd Hames Theater at 227 West 42nd Street in New York City. Poor Wandering One, find your way over to my Patreon page where you can, for as little as $1 a month, support my work here along with my classic cinema podcast, Yesterday's Matinee. Patrons get early access to the latest podcast episode and sneak peeks at my reviews before they are posted here, as well as other little treats that pop up from time to time. Thank you to my current patrons, especially my Neo and Hamilton tier patrons, and welcome to the new ones. Links to my Patreon and podcast pages will be in the description. It's been nearly 30 years since I've seen a new production of anything Gilbert and Sullivan, and the last time was a production of HMS Pinafore at McPherson Community Theater in McPherson, Kansas, and that was because I was in that show playing a sailor. Gilbert and Sullivan's music is iconic, and their operettas are part of the foundation that would evolve into what is musical theater today. So when Rupert Holmes came along with Ellis and decided to do a heavily revised version of The Pirates of Penzance, reworking Gilbert and Sullivan's score with jazzy arrangements, I was a bit dubious. And frankly, if you haven't seen it yet and are familiar with the show, or Gilbert and Sullivan in general, you should be dubious too. That's not to say I think it's bad, but I feel comfortable in saying that if you like your Gilbert and Sullivan in the classic fashion, you may find what's going on here will make you question what you're listening to as actually being Gilbert and Sullivan sometimes, or just being Pirates of Penzance sometimes. Personally, I found it fascinating. This isn't the first reworking of The Pirates of Penzance, a delightfully silly musical comedy about a young man, Frederick, played by Nicholas Barish, whose 21st birthday is approaching. Due to an auditory error by his nursemaid Ruth, played by Jinx Monsoon, Frederick ends up being apprenticed as a pirate instead of a pilot. When discovering the mistake, Frederick decides he's going to leave the life of crime and become an adversary to his pirate brothers. Meanwhile, he meets Mabel Stanley, played by Samantha Williams, and her sisters, and he immediately falls in love. The Pirate King, played by Ramin Karimloo, schemes to keep Frederick in league with the pirates while the pirates attempt to woo the other sisters, much to the chagrin of Mabel and the sisters' father, Major General Stanley, played by David Hyde Pierce. Hilarity ensues. Joseph Papp did a major rework of Pirates of Penzance in 1980 with the public, and it was a huge hit. Still, the reworking of that production had more to do with making it feel less like an operetta, more like a more modern musical theater piece, working with things musically and in staging. Here, we still have a more musical theater-style show than the operetta that the original show was, and that is obviously expected with jazz arrangements of songs like Poor Wandering One and A Policeman's Lot. This leads to more varied arrangements and dance arrangements. I mean, who'd ever think there'd be a tap number in a Gilbert and Sullivan musical? Of course, with the show being jazzier, the show needs a jazzier setting, so the musical has been moved from the coast of Cornwall to New Orleans. Due to the location change, much of the dialogue and a fair bit of the lyrics have been altered to reflect the new location. Again, purists may take issue with this, but I've seen this done before in a production of Patience back in the mid-90s, and that production took a lot of liberties with incorporating a bunch of modern references in its humor. So if you're open to the changes, you're already halfway there and enjoying the show. The cast is fully committed to the zaniness of the show, especially Ramin Karimloo as a pirate king who struts around with brawny brazenness as the most absurdly silly pirate since Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow. He leads the cast in some rousing performances, especially during the swashbuckling finale that had the audience giving a lengthy ovation. David Hyde Pierce brings his trademark stoic sense of humor to Major General Stanley, and his I am the very model of a modern Major General builds with absurd speed and precision. It's not only him, but the rest of the cast as well, singing behind him. Excellent job. Again, the audience was ready to leap out of their seats with joy about that performance. Considering the rapid-paced patter of the song, it is one of the songs with minimal musical revisions, but more lyrical revisions to fit the New Orleans setting. Jinx Monsoon rounds out the three more outlandish characters as the hearing-deficient Ruth. I would have liked to have more humor revolving around that aspect of the character, but she does get to be spotlighted in a great performance of Alone and Yet Alive. But Tim, you say, Alone and Yet Alive is from the Mikado, not Pirates of Penzance. Yeah, that happens a bit here, with songs from Iolanthe and HMS Pinafore also in the musical, while numbers like Now for the Pirate's Lair and How Beautifully Blue the Sky are cut. The romantic leads of Nicholas Barish and Samantha Williams are delightful, but as the romantic leads, they tend to get overshadowed by the more absurd characters around them. Barish, though, does make Frederick unbelievably adorable and naive, as he is convinced that he is not 21 because he was born on February 29th, and Samantha Williams' voice is gorgeous. David Rockwell's set design is awesome. I love the New Orleans French Quarter design, and the arrival of the pirate ship is awesome. Linda Cho's costumes are colorful, with a mix of classic style with an infusion of New World rusticness. Donald Holder's lighting creates some beautiful atmosphere, especially in the second act where most of the action happens at night. Warren Carlyle's choreography is a delight, as it adds some great jazzy ensemble dance numbers around the arrangements. Pirates, the Penzance musical, is a huge departure from classic Gilbert and Sullivan, but if you're willing to take that journey, you'll see some great performances with a daring idea of taking an operetta that first opened in 1879 and giving it a wild new concept that will challenge the idea of what can be done with a classic work. But I'm only one man's opinion, so be sure to leave yours in the comments below. If you want to see Pirates of Penzance musical, I'll leave a link in the description where you can get tickets. Also in the description will be links to my Patreon page and podcast pages and my social media handles where you can support my work. You can also support me by liking and sharing this video, subscribing to the channel, and clicking the notification bell to be alerted to future reviews. My next review will be the new Broadway musical, Real Women Have Curves. Thank you for watching, and I will see you at the theater.